Today I'm going to be teaching decimals. Alright, we're going to learn how to add decimals and understand what they are. Okay?
Okay.
So, you have a basic understanding of fractions, first of all. So if I wrote this, what fraction is that?
1 over 1/10.
Okay, it's 1 over 10.
Or 1 over 10, yeah.
And what is that? What is the name of this fraction?
1/10.
Okay, so decimals try and put fractions into a bit easier form to read. So 1 over 1/10, you go to 0.1 because that is a tenth of 1. If you want to look at it as a fraction, you do 1/10 is equal to 0.1. 1/10 is equal to 0.1. And so, knowing this information, if we wanted to say 0.2, we would say, let's multiply this by 2 and this by 2. Multiply this by 2. So 2 times 0.1 to get 0.2, that would be 2/10 because we multiply this by 2. So let's try adding some decimals. Okay?
Alright.
So if we had 0.25, 0.25.
Your handwriting is horrible.
Good for you. So we had 0.25. What fraction would this be? I'm asking you, what fraction would this be?
25.
25 over what?
0.
Let's go back to this, right? What? So what is this? What is 0.1?
0.01.
No, what is that as a fraction?
1 over 10.
Okay, so if this is 1 over 10.
Oh, 25 over 10 for that one.
But 25 over 10 is greater than 1. So this digit right here, this 2, this is the tenths place.
Alright.
So that's going to be 2/10 is this part right here. Is this 0.2.
Alright.
And this 5, this is in the hundredths place. That is a 1 over 100. But it's 5, so it's 5 over 100.
Alright.
So we have 2/10 plus 5 over 100.
Alright.
And so that is how we write this decimal. So this is actually 25 over 100. But you can simplify this. How would we simplify this fraction?
25 goes into 104 times.
Okay.
So 4.
So what is the fraction that this is?
25 over 4. Or 4 over 25. Or I don't know.
25 over 100. So what we can do is we can divide both sides, or both the top and the bottom, by 25.
Yeah.
Okay? So if we said divide 25 by 25, what's that?
1.
Okay, so when you change this the same on the numerator and the denominator, then the fraction is the same. Like if I said 2/4, that's the same thing as 1/2. That is a sideways 2, 1/2. 2/4 is the same thing as 1/2, right?
Alright.
Because if I divide this by 2, you get 1, and you divide this by 2, you get 2.
Okay.
So now, what is 25 divided by 25?
1.
Okay, what is 100 divided by 25 then?
4.
Okay, so what is this new fraction then?
1 over 4.
Yes. 25 over 100 is 1 over 4. And so what is this decimal then?
1 over 4.
Yes. 0.25 is equal to 1 over 4.
So we had to do all that just to solve that. It's
When there's some common decimals that you're going to come across, like 0.25. And there's another common decimal that we're going to look at right now. And then we're going to look at adding some of these decimals together. And maybe they won't be some common ones. So now we're going to look at 0.20. 0.20. What fraction would this be? Using what we've learned before. Look at this first digit.
20. 0 over, or 20 over 1, or 20 over 1 over...
This first digit is the number over 10.
Oh, yeah.
So then what is this first digit telling us? What number over 10 is it? If the first digit tells us it's that number over 10.
What is it?
The first digit, the first digit after the decimal point is 2. And the first digit tells us what number is over 10, because it's the 10th place. So then, what is the number over 10? What number is this?
The number over 10. What is the number over 10?
Yeah.
1, 4, 20.
We solved this before, right? And how did we break this apart? This is just like if this was 20. Let's imagine this was 20, and this is the ones place, and this is the tens place. How would you break this up into tens and ones?
2 tens, 0 ones.
So this is 2 tens and 0 ones. So what is this?
2 tens, 0 ones.
2 tenths.
2 tenths and 0 hundredths.
Okay. So that means this is 2 over 10.
Okay.
So what is this fraction simplified?
Which one?
2 tenths.
5 or 5.
Divide the numerator and the top, the numerator, and the denominator, the bottom, by the same number. What can you divide both 2 and 10 by?
1.
And? Okay. Now divide both the top and the bottom by 2.
Okay. 1 over 5.
Okay. That's exactly right. 2 tenths is equal to 1/5. And this is 2 tenths. Because there's 2 in the tenths place and 0 in the hundredths place.
Okay.
So 0.20 is equal to 1/5.
Alright.
So now we're going to add some decimals. And we're going to add these so that we can check our work in a minute, okay? Because we know how we have these fractions, so we can add the fractions to make sure both answers are right. So if I said 0.25 plus 0.20, and we wanted to add them, it is just like single digit addition, or it's just like addition, where you would line up the numbers so that the
0.445.
Yes, 0.45, because you added this 5 and 0 makes 5. What is this 5 telling us?
Hundredths.
And you add the 2 tenths, and what is that telling us?
Tenths place.
How many are in the tenths place?
4.
So what if we wanted to write this number as a fraction? This whole number is a fraction.
Like 4/5 or something.
So when you have decimals, we're always gonna start with tens and hundreds and thousands, because deci means, that's the prefix deci, means 10. Okay, so we're gonna start with powers of 10. So what is this as a decimal, or as a fraction?
I don't know.
Okay, how did we turn the other things into fractions?
Simplify. Or like,
From the decimal.
I don't know.
Okay, how many tenths are there?
4.
Okay, there's 4 tenths. So what would that look like as a fraction? You tell me what to write.
40. Or I don't know.
4 tenths. You said there are 4 tenths. So how do you write that as a fraction?
Four tenths.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. 40, 10, 4.
You write 4 over 10. That is 4 tenths. 4 times 1 tenth. If I said 4 times 1 tenth, that's the same thing. Okay, so this is 4 tenths. What about this 5? What is that doing? What is this 5?
Hundredths.
Okay, so how do you write this as a fraction?
Five over 10.
But it's the hundredths place.
So 5 over 100.
Correct. 5 over 100. And so these are together in one decimal. So it's 4 tenths and 5 100ths.
Alright.
And so you can combine this and say it's just 45 over 100. Okay?
Gonna go now?
No. Because we're going to add these fractions over here and see if we get the same answer. We might have to simplify in the end. Okay. So 1/4 plus 1/5. What is 1/4 plus 1/5?
2/9.
2/9. How did you get 2/9?
Alright.
We're going to write out each step. Okay?
Well,
I don't want you to skip steps.
Because you add 1 plus 1, and that's 2, and you add 4 plus 5, and that's 9.
You don't add fractions that way.
Oh my gosh.
You want to get there to be a common denominator. Okay? So if I added 1/2, let's just make an easier problem. Okay? 1/2 plus 1/4. Okay? Let's imagine this as a little circle. Okay? We have half a circle and then we have quarter circles. So this is our half a circle. And we added a quarter of the circle. And if we did it your way, that would be 2/6. Did we shade 2/6 of this?
No.
So instead, we need to do something called finding a common denominator. That sounds pretty fancy.
I've heard of that.
Okay. The idea is that you want to get these to be the same least common multiple. So we're going to make this fraction the same fraction, but it's going to have the same denominators. And so we can add when you add fractions, you add the numerators and you keep the denominators if they are the same. And if they are not the same, then you have to convert one to the other one, or find the least common multiple. So what is the least common multiple of 4 and 2?
2. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know.
What are multiples of 2? So if I said 2 times 1.
2. Or
2.
1. Or 2.
Alright, now 2 times 2.
4.
Okay, so 4 is a multiple of 2.
Alright.
What about 4 times 1? What is 4 times 1?
4.
So that is a multiple of 4. Okay, so we want this one to be the same denominator, to have the denominator of 4. So how do I get this 1/2 to have a denominator of 4?
Multiply it by 2.
What is it?
2. The 2.
Just the 2?
Yeah. Or the 2 and the 1.
Yes, you have to multiply the top and the bottom by the same number. Otherwise, it's a different fraction. So
it would be 2/4.
2/4. So now this 1/2 is the same thing as 2/4. Alright, now we're going to add that to 1/4. And now we have the same denominator, so we can keep them. So now 4 is on the bottom. And you add the numerators. So what's 2 plus 1? 2 plus 1.
4 or 2, 3.
2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, so now we've practiced your common denominators, okay? So now we're going to go back to this 1/4 plus 1/5 example. 1/4 plus 1/5. Tell me some multiples of 4 and 5. I'm going to list them out. Just tell me multiples of 4 and 5. So what is a multiple of 4?
1.
We're going to do multiples of 4, so numbers that you multiply 4 by. So if I said 4 times 1 is what?
4.
Okay. The next multiple is you would multiply it by the next number. So what is 4 times 2?
8.
Okay. The next multiple of 4.
12.
Okay.
16.
Uh-huh.
20.
Okay.
24.
Please sit up. Alright, we're going to stop here and see if we have any overlaps. So now we're going to do multiples of 5.
10.
We're going to start at the number itself.
Alright.
So what is 5 times 1?
5.
Okay, 5.
The next one is 10. We have
Mhm.
2.
Mm-hmm.
It's the common denominator. Or this common number thing. 10 is the common number.
But do you see that is there a 10 in the multiples of 4 section?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Because your 16 looks like a 10.
How is that a 10? That is a 16.
Because your handwriting is
Okay.
trash.
We're gonna continue. Next. What?
15.
Okay.
20.
20.
25. 30.
Alright.
35.
So,
40.
okay. Do you see
20.
any? Okay. So we want both of these numbers to have a denominator of 20. Because they are the same.
Okay.
So now let's convert 1/4 into to a number with the denominator of 20. Okay? So how do you get 4 to be 20? What number do you multiply by? Four times what is 20?
5.
Okay. So this one is 5. I want you to write this next one, okay? We're going to figure out what 1/5 is. I'm giving you the marker. What is 1/5?
Of 20?
How do you convert 1/5 to be with the denominator of 20? We did it for 1/4 by multiplying it by 5. So what number do you multiply 5 by to get 20?
4.
Okay. Now write it. Four over 20. Good job. So how do we add fractions?
If we have a common denominator, we add across the top and add across the bottom.
You add across the top and keep the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what is this? So what is 5 over 20 plus
9/20.
9/20ths? All right. So we just did what we said 0.25 is 1/4 and 0.2 is 1/5. And so when we added 1/4 plus 1/5 as fractions, we got 9/20ths. But when we added them as decimals, we got 45 over 100. Did we do something wrong? Or are these the same fraction?
No, they're not the same fraction.
Okay, but could they be equal?
I don't know how.
If you said, if you multiplied something times 20 to get 100 and something times that same number, or 9 times that same number and got 45, then they would be the same fraction.
Well, 9 times 5 is 45.
Okay. 9 times 5 is 45. Okay, now is 20 times 5 100?
What, yeah.
Then they're the same fraction.
Okay.
That means adding it in fraction form or adding it in decimal form works perfectly fine. Let's add one more fraction and one more decimal. Okay?
Okay.
Let's do 0.3 and let's do 1.03. So if I were to add these, 0.3 and 0.03, how would I add them? Tell me the steps and what number goes where.
Three plus three is 6. 0 plus, and then
This is set up a bit weird, and sometimes on a test, a teacher may try and trick you. This is set up tricky, okay? You looked at it and you started doing the math, and then you realize these decimal points don't line up. Please sit up. These decimal points aren't lined up, okay? You want to line up the decimal points so that each digit is correct. So we move this number over so that the decimal points are aligned. And then you can add it like normal.
So then how do you move it over?
You literally move it so it's aligned, because they're the same numbers if you line up the decimal point. They're the right digit.
Okay.
So I want you to rewrite this equation so that the decimal points are lined up right next to it. There's something that you did that I'm going to show you on, and I don't think you're ever going to make this same mistake again. Okay?
What did I do now?
So, when you move this over, you said you added a 0 right here. But there wasn't a 0 between the decimal point and the 3. Because this 3 right here represents 3/10. Because it's in the tenths place, it's right next to the decimal point. And this 3 right here, what does this represent?
300.
And when you rewrite it to make it easier to do the math, you do not want to change the value of the number. So let's try that one more time. Do not change the value of the number. Align the decimal points. Okay, so you said 0.3 and 1.03. So that is correct. Now how would you add them?
0, or bring that 3 down. 3.
Which 3?
This.
You didn't point to a 3. This 3 and the 1.03?
Yeah.
So you said just bring it down?
Yeah.
Why do you bring it down?
Because there's nothing else to add it with.
Okay. It's like adding 0. So now what does this 3 represent?
300.
Okay, that's correct. Now what do we do next?
3 plus 0 is 3. 1 plus 0 is 1. So it's 1. And then bring the decimal down. So it's 1.33.
Correct. Alright, now we're going to do one more. We're going to do one more decimal, and then we're going to do one more fraction, and then we're done. Okay? That's all we have left. So now we're going to try 0.7 and 0.5. add these. What is 0.7 plus 0.5? So you said 0.7 plus 0.5. Now, what number is that? What did you write down?
1.2.
That is exactly right. Why is it not 0.12?
Because 7 plus 5 is 12, and then you carry the 1, and then you have to put the decimal, so it's 1.2.
Good job. All right, now we're gonna do one more fraction. We're gonna add one more fraction. Okay? And then we're done. We're going to do, let's do 3/7 plus 4/5. 3/7 plus 4/5. So what is the first step when we add fractions? Adding and subtracting fractions, what do we do?
You need to make sure there's a common denominator, and in this case, there's not. So we need to find what they can both be multiplied by, right?
You need to find the common multiple. So you start listing multiples of both numbers. Okay? So I want you to start, like I did over here. If you want to kind of write it over to the side, you could start writing multiples of both 7 and 5. Let's do this one in red, okay? We're going to write multiples of 7 and 5. Tell me them as you write them.
7, 14, 21, skipping over to 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, skipping back over to 7s, 28, 35, 42, 49, and then skipping back over to 5s, 35, 40, 40.
Have you found any a number that's on both columns yet?
No.
A number?
Oh, except for 35.
Okay, 35.
Is a common multiple.
Yes, 35 is a common multiple. So now you want both denominators to be 35.
Okay. So
I think we're going to do one more easier adding fractions, but I want you to do it by yourself, okay? If you need help, I can help. So I'm going to finish helping you with this one, and then you're going to do one all by yourself. Okay?
fine. Do you want me to do the blue mark? Use the blue mark for this one?
So you have now. You're trying to get 35s for both of them. So you're writing 35 on the bottom. What are you counting right now? Okay, so where did you get this 15 from?
15 times 5 is, or 30 times 5 is 15,
Okay.
Took 5 to get from 7, or took 5 times 7 to get to 35.
Okay.
So I had to multiply that, and then for that one,
Yeah.
it took 7. So I multiplied this 4 up here by 20, or by 7, and it got 28. Or I got 28.
That's exactly right. So now you add these fractions, and that is your answer. So how do you add fractions?
35, or add the top, leave the bottom.
Okay. So put a plus sign and do the math.
So like 420 over 35?
Where did you get 420 from? Let me.
Wait, hold on.
I don't think that's right.
Yeah, no, that ain't right, Chief.
28 plus 15.
I was multiplying it, not.
Oh.
I was like, read this.
Add them.
Yeah. I know that. No.
You're adding fractions, you're not multiplying them. If you want to try multiplying these fractions.
I'm good, bro.
Let's see here. You said 28 plus 15. You said 8 plus 5 is 3. You carried the 1. So 43 over 35. That looks right. Good job. Now let's do 1 all by yourself and then you're done. That's going to be a bit easier, I think. Okay? We're going to say 1/3 plus, let's do 6/7. What is 1/3 plus 6/7? Tell me each step, what you're doing.
You have to find the common multiple.
Okay. So let's start the multiples you're going through.
36, 9, 12, 15, and then 7, 14, 21, and then back to 30, 15, 18, 21. So that's a common multiple.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then you would do 1, 3,
Why are you whispering? I want you to explain your process out loud. Okay, I want to make sure you're doing everything right.
So after you find the common multiple,
Mm-hmm.
You take the 1 above the 3 and then you multiply it by how many ever it took to get to your common multiple. So it took 7. So 1 times 7 is obviously 7 over 7 over 21, and then you do the same thing 7 for the other one. 6 over 7. It took 3 to get to 21, so 6 times 3, 6, 12, 18 over 21, and then you add it together. You equal it to 18, 25 over 21.
That is absolutely perfect, my friend. You are done for today. You have
finally
adding fractions and decimals